Morris, who some of you may have heard of, it's very famous television programs called Brass Eye, sent me a clip of him being an interviewer. This is satire, by the way, so the interviewee, who happens to be Peter Tatchell, in fact, the gay rights campaigner, but that's got nothing to do with the point. The point is that he sent me this and said, do this, right? When someone starts saying something you don't like, or even if you want to unnerve them a little bit, then face work is very important. He said it's the look on your face, because what will happen is that the camera will go to you, and you'll be on camera looking astonished, disgusted, or whatever it is. The person who's talking to you will get very disconcerted, and then you can jump in and make your point. It's brilliant. So I'm going to show you the clip that Chris sent me first. You'll see his face work, which is immaculate. And then you'll see me do exactly the same thing on Newsnight about 2 days later. So this is Chris first.
The problem is everybody's too scared to do it by themselves. You get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 MPs all coming out at once. None of them will be picked on individually. They'll all be able to have the mutual support and solidarity, hopefully, of their colleagues.
You get Jack Straw, Robin Cook, Michael Howard. I mean, would there be an argument for them coming out if they weren't gay at all?
Well, that might be an interesting proposition.
So you see Chris's face work. So now watch for my perfect impression of Chris Morris and Sir David King. I also say that I'll just run it on a bit, the clip. I do it twice in the clip. But also I make the case for what I think is the reason that we are doing these kind of research.
Possibility, isn't it? It is. But I think there's another argument. Brilliant people like this young man sitting next to me also need to be attracted into these other challenges that we're faced with, where the outcome can be directly productive.
I've just explained that,
so
we
are
too
attractive, is it? Spending all this money makes it too attractive.
No, you don't work on one thing. For me, myself, I work at the Cockcroft Accelerator Institute up at the Daresbury Lab. All the scientists that work at CERN are also working on particle beam therapies for cancer, because it's part of the same endeavour, it's part of the same expertise. So you can't say to people, like me, for example, 20 years ago when I went into physics, well, why don't you just do this because it's rather useful? In fact, learning how the universe works is useful, is inspiring. And on this day, actually, the day when, for once, physics is part of culture, it's in the headlines at every newspaper, every news broadcast in the world. I don't think the president of the British Association for the Advancement of Science should be pouring cold water on that on this day of all days.
Nor am I pouring cold water on it. I think this is an exciting experiment. I really am interested in the outcome, as interested as most other people. But I've got a real challenge here. At which point are we going to say, this particle physics machine, this accelerator, is as big as we want to build? Or do we... No, there's a very real question.
Maybe. It depends what you discover and where you go next.
Right.
At this point now, we've reached a problem. We've got a door that's closed, our understanding of the way the world works. This machine has been built to answer that question.
We're going to have to leave it there, sadly, but thank you both very much for joining us.
I just wanted to... Yeah. I wanted to show you that. There's actually a serious point there, although it's quite funny to see David there do that. Actually, afterwards, I kind of made friends with David since, and I had dinner with him. And the point is that in order to function in arenas like that, particularly on Newsnight, you've got to know exactly what you want to say, and you've got to know how to say it. It's not enough, and often scientists, myself included, wish this were the